Why did it say there was an error? There was no error. Everything's working completely fine. I think my computer is like such a fatalist about everything. Really, the only error is your attitude about everything. It's like when you're entering a new password and you haven't even put anything in yet, and it's like password too short. It's like, no shit. Yeah, I know the password has to be more than 0 characters. And then you start typing and it just keeps saying too short until you get to 8 or whatever. It's like you're setting me up to fail. Like, it's like if you're a child learning how to walk and you almost do it one time, but you fall over. And every time it happens, your parents get really close in your face and they say, "You're a disappointment to us. You're a disappointment to us." And they just say it until you learn how to walk. But you never would learn how to walk, not in that kind of environment. So when I'm making a new password, believe in me. It's amazing that the first time that happened to me, I didn't just like walk out the door and just go feral and live in the woods. The computers hate me. They're everywhere, except in the woods. It's one of the great things about the woods. That and the bears that are shitting out there. It's a famously obvious phenomenon. When you see a bear shit in the woods, you're like, well, of course. I don't need this demonstrated to me in the same way that I don't have to go to Rome to find out that the Pope is Catholic. This is the Purgatory Podcast. Tonight's episode will be followed by a new installment of silence. I mean, I don't know what you're going to listen to next. It's a wild world out there where free will reigns unchecked. You can consume content however you want. But if you're used to having things more regimented and controlled, it's like, this is the Purgatory Podcast, starting now on BBC 4, followed by a new episode of Granny's Got Her Knickers Knackered. And this week, Granny's really got her knickers fully knackered on BBC 4. Why do they get so many BBCs? You could at least take away the one that's just reruns of Granny's Got Her Knickers Knackered. People have seen those episodes a million times. It's like they're Seinfeld. They've replaced the Granny 3 times. It's reaching Doctor Who levels. And you know who the current Granny is. You know they just aged up Olivia Colman because they're not going to give any other female actresses jobs. Anyway, this is actually a podcast, though. It's not a TV show. Just in case you're still wondering, like, oh, is he going to show up on my screen? No. I'm never going to show up. I don't have the power to visually manifest. I'm basically just a demon. Like, I inhabit some other dimension, even though I'm just in America, which in some ways is a different dimension. I was thinking about that tonight walking around, where there were like a lot of homeless, like drug addicts and stuff that I was walking through, and I was like, we live in the same world, but we also don't. We're like ghosts to each other, somehow sliding through the same physical space, but that's the only axis upon which our lives intersect at all. I'm not really sure what needs to be done to help them. Oh wait, just kidding, yes I do. The giveaway is actually in what we call them, which is the homeless, so yeah, you gotta have houses for people to live in. That's an easy one. And the response back is like, well, it's complicated. And it is complicated. No one actually knows how a house is made. No one's ever seen it happen. We have to let wealthy pedophile elites have access to our children because it pleases the demon god Moloch, who's in charge of housing. Did you guys not hear that Moloch he's the head of HUD? It's not great, but it is a step up from Ben Carson. I remember thinking my theory about Ben Carson was he walked into the right room at the right time and he just kind of accidentally became the head of a federal government agency. I really think he just Mr. Beaned his way into the administration and nobody was really paying attention, so Trump was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I had a black one in here. I have to try and experiment. I have to turn the AC on or we're all gonna die. It's not just gonna be me, I'm taking you down with me. The thing I said about not actually being able to get out of your device, I was just kidding. I can definitely do that. I just didn't want to scare you. Okay, and I don't want to scare you with the sound of the air conditioner, which I'm going to turn on. Well, I'll put it on quiet. That's got to be better. We were walking around earlier in the kind of large historic mansion neighborhood across on the other side of the main street from where I live. And I can never figure out, like, who lives in these places. I don't think anybody does. I think there has to be so much room for all the ghosts. And these houses just kept getting bigger over the years because the person living there is like, well, this room's haunted, so I'll build a new one. The ghost would just kill that person, and then that person becomes a ghost who haunts that room, so the next person who moves in is like, now there's 2 haunted rooms. Surely a third one won't be haunted. Before you know it, you have like a 20-bedroom, like 8-bathroom house. Just for ghosts. It's just a ghost house. That's why there's an affordable housing problem. Half of America is covered in haunted houses. This is the kind of thing Moloch needs to solve if he really believes in America like he said he did during those confirmation hearings. They absolutely grilled him, by the way. AOC, she dug into Moloch. When I saw that, I was like, I'm almost forgetting which one of these is the demon. But you gotta appease the guy if you want houses to come out of the ground. I have to tell you, I don't think this AC is doing shit. Okay, I pointed the vents at me. I think of all the times I've tried to point the vent at me, thinking that would work, it just never really ends up working. Although as I say this, I am now feeling cool air on myself. So that's egg in my face, or air in my face. Which is what I wanted, so I win either way, don't I? Either I'm right, or I'm cool. I can't be both. So it's sweltering, it's, you know, it was like 105. My car said it was 105 yesterday. So because of the recent heat wave, I got our eye in the sky guy, Chuck Charles, doing double duty as the weather guy. All our previous weathermen died in extremely hard to explain incidents. I would explain them, but it's just too hard. So Chuck Charles, I figured he's already in a helicopter. He sees all the clouds. He knows where they're going. Chuck Charles has a great view of the heat, I guess. I don't know. I admit I didn't really fully think this through, but I'm sure he has something to say about the recent goings-on in the air, which he's high up in. Hello?
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 Is this the podcast?
Yeah.
What's with your hosting skills? You sound like a sober Jimmy Fallon right now.
Well, don't say that about Jimmy Fallon. That's not the kind of comedy that we do on this podcast.
This is a comedy podcast? I've been going up into a helicopter for jokes? I thought this was real.
It's real. The traffic, the weather, it's all real, isn't it, right?
Do you have an AC running?
Yeah. Why?
I can hear it.
You can hear that in the helicopter? It's on quiet. None of this matters. All that matters is what the weather is like where you are up in that big, beautiful helicopter of yours. And if you want to do the traffic too, just for old time's sake, I don't really give a shit either way.
It's really hot. It's as hot as it was on the ground. I thought maybe it'd be a little bit cooler. No, it's really hot.
Well, what's the temp? What's the dew point? What's the humidity?
Yeah, I'm looking down. It looks like a desert level from Mario.
Well, where are you?
I gotta tell you, it looks so much like the desert level from Mario, I'm starting to think I'm in Mario.
Well, Mario isn't real, so you don't have to worry about that.
I'm pretty sure those are Goombas.
There are no Goombas.
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. Those are just the most diseased-looking dogs I've ever seen. Oh my god, what did they do to them?
Well, as our weather guy, do you have any tips for beating the heat?
Yeah, what I do is I'm just wet all the time.
All the time?
Like, all day.
How are you always able to stay so moist?
I prefer to keep that private. All that matters is that I'm soaked and I'm comfortable.
Hey, we all have our ways of staying cool. I don't really have any methods, so I just kind of suffer through it.
Yeah, well, suffering is for pussies.
Well, no, it's not. The exact opposite is true.
there you go again, doubting me, cutting me down with 1,000 tiny little blades.
Thank you, Chuck Charles.
You're welcome.
Well, that's the first time anyone's said you're welcome when I thank them. Thank you for saying you're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Alright, you can stop saying it now.
What do you want me to do?
Alright, I want you to hang up. Thank you so much, Chuck. I was trying to think, I guess methods for staying cool, and the one that popped into my head was, you could just chew on ice cubes all day. That should work. What you're really worried about is not what's on your skin, but what's inside of you. That's where you are. That's all you need to do in life, is to just suck on ice cubes all day. I think it'll make you smarter, I think it'll make you healthier, and I think it'll make you more attractive to the opposite sex. I think if you're on a date and you take a sip of that ice cold water, get some cubes swirling around, you get a little cube party going in there, and then you say to your date, "Oh, so you cougar during the summer? How are the kids that you cougar?" "Yeah, but the parents must be a nightmare when you have it." "Yeah. Do you watch Severance? Do you watch Racist Gemstones? Do you watch Shall Say in Philadelphia? You watch have you ever seen Arrested Development?" Okay. Alright, I really did put an ice cube in my mouth for that. Oh, it's so cold. I wish someone had told me how cold ice was. Alright, now it's melting. I'm gonna be okay. Turns out you can't do that, or you should get a smaller ice cube, I guess. It's hard to have a podcast, all the ice cubes you have to go through. Isn't it bad to chew on ice cubes, though? Isn't it bad for your teeth? Yeah, University of Utah Health says chewing ice can cause small cracks in the enamel that can turn into bigger cracks over time and eventually fracture the tooth. Well, look, we can still suck on ice. They can't take that away from us. They can never stop us from sucking. For me as a child, summer was defined by those shitty ice pops that came in the transparent plastic tubes. And you just buy like 50 of them and you just sit at home and eat like 20 a day. And it was good for you. Back then it was good for you. And that goes for everything. Nothing used to ever kill you. It might be a good time to just go back to not being able to diagnose illnesses, just dying. Hear me out. I know it's going to be a hard sell. I realize that. But think about all the hoops you have to jump through, all the ways you have to stay healthy. You have so many diseases to worry about. It might be different if you lived in a time where it's like, oh, he just died of living. He overlived, and his body didn't like it. So now it's dead and he's dead. It's just like, well, okay, if it comes with living, I guess I'll take death. It does seem like a package deal. Instead, you're like looking at your hand, you're like, I'm pretty sure my palms switched places. Is that a symptom of something? Do I have palm cancer? If you're asking that question, you do. And you're gonna die. I'm amazed you're not dead already. So, I mean, you would still try to live, a somewhat healthy life. The body is a temple, but it's like, temples also get destroyed eventually, so you might as well fill the temple with ice pops and beer and pretzels every now and then. Anyway, it's about that time to bring out Slurp Von Lipstick. He's the host of Time Check. He reads the time, and then you know what time it was when he read the time. I know. I don't know what to say anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Slurp Von Lipstick, the host of Time Check. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your appreciation. A lot of people are running around, out in the street asking each other, do you know what time it is? You know what time it is? Like, what time is it? Everybody talks about what time it is, but nobody cares about what time it was. That's where I come in. And if you're interested in being a part of Time Check, call in. Hold on, someone's calling the timeline. Who is this?
It's Ice Cube Eddie.
Ice Cube Eddie, didn't we go to high school together? Yeah, I remember you. You always had an ice cube in your mouth.
It's hard for people to forget me. I'm kind of frozen into their memory.
because of the ice cubes.
I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I got a bone to pick with the host of this podcast for appropriating my condition.
Your condition?
Yeah, I was born with cold mouth.
Then why did you put ice cubes in your mouth if your mouth was cold?
I didn't put ice cubes in my mouth. My mouth was so cold that it formed ice cubes out of my saliva.
Oh.
Yeah. Nobody ever asked me my story.
Well, I'm really sorry. Look, back then I was only focused on two things: Bionicle and getting pussy. Well, I'm sorry for making fun of you. I'm sorry for putting a blow dryer in your mouth. Although, to be honest, that seems like it was sort of treating your condition in a way.
Yeah, that was really helpful. I actually enjoyed that one.
But you sound normal now, so how does that work?
I recently had work done to make my mouth hotter.
I mean, technically, your condition wasn't being appropriated because you no longer suffer from said condition.
You don't understand. It's still a part of me. I still have ice cubes on the inside.
Look, do you want me to read what time it is? You can be our time check guest this week.
Sure, I've been meaning to get around to looking at a clock recently.
Alright, well, the time is 12:41 a.m.
Oh, I gotta send my normal mouth to bed.
I feel like you have some kind of complex about the fact that you don't have an ice cube mouth anymore, now you have a normal mouth. Is this the kind of thing where, you'd actually be happier with the ice cubes?
Look, I'm not gonna say I don't miss the ice cubes. I don't miss the texture. I don't miss the chew. I'm not gonna say any of those things.
Okay. Alright, well, best of luck to you with your your lack of condition. Well, this installment of Time Check, of course, is sponsored by Visa MasterCard. Take it with you anywhere. You can swish it, you can whoosh it, you can click it, you can tap it, you can touch it, you can throw it. You've heard of tapping it, you've heard of swiping it, you've heard of inserting it. But what if you could throw it? With the new Visa MasterCard, you can just throw it at the cashier, and they have to figure out what to do about it. It's new technology that Visa has invented. Visa MasterCard, throw that shit at somebody's face. It's their problem then. You're on the go. You don't have time to insert or scan. It's their job to figure this out for you. And to make the process even easier, Visa has now eliminated PIN numbers. Any old motherfucker sliding that thing in any old machine can get in there, and they should be able to do that because they can help you get the money out or put it in, whatever needs to happen. No one has complained about this yet. It just came out, but nobody's complained yet. And if you don't buy it, you're basically saying, I don't like having an easier life. If you sign up for Visa's convenience tier gold, what they will do is they will access your bank account, they will take all of your money. So you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's in someone else's hands. All of the concerns, all the foibles associated with your financial life, gone in an instant. That's the Visa promise. They told me to say that, and they paid me as well, with your money. Not much going on in my own life. I've just been, I was trapped in a well for about a week, and I was subsisting on mouse skeletons, which I had ground down into a fine powder. And every night I would go to sleep and I would have nightmares of being chased by mice, which would eat all of my flesh and then eat my skeleton. And even after I was rescued, I'm still dreaming of mice eating my bones. So yeah, just the usual kind of goings on. Shout out to Ice Cube Eddie. I've been Slurp Von Lipstick. This entire segment I've been him. I mean me. I'll see you in 1 week. Ladies and gentlemen, your most rabid, your most animalistic applause for Slurp Von Lipstick, the host of Time Check. And now we can move on. Now we can do something real. Instead of just telling you what time it is, what if I made that time actually worth living? all just from listening to a podcast. That would be really cool. I really hope someone has the idea for a good podcast. We're still working on it. That's why there is so many podcasts. We're trying to collectively, as a civilization, we're trying to make one that's good. Unfortunately, if too many people listen to this, I'd have to deal with people being like, hey, the air conditioning noise in the background's annoying. Would you mind killing yourself for me? So you'd have to deal with that, which is annoying. I do have to post on social media as part of my job. And it's gotten to a point where I'm not. The company cannot afford to pay me enough to click on the notifications to see what the comments are. I'm the guy who's dropping the bait into the piranha pool and just letting them swarm as they see fit. It's not my job to go down there and ask the piranhas, like, what'd you think of the bait? Hey, rate this bait. Anyway, that's the podcast, and if I see you out in real life, and I'm not talking, I'm not actively speaking, I just want you to know that's real life. Sometimes I'm not talking at all. Sometimes I'm eating French fries or doing something like that. I went to this movie theater near me, which is one of those movie theater restaurants where you order actual food, and I got French fries. And I was seeing 28 Years Later with my dad, and kind of thinking, there's a little flaw with this because I'm going to be eating food and while watching people's spines get torn out. I mean, if anything, it reaffirms my decision to eat something that didn't contain meat, at least. Like, no one ever shot a potato's brains out. I also don't know how well thought out the movie was. I mean, it was okay, but it just ends with these dudes doing parkour. And then some guy says, I'm Johnny, whoever the fuck, and then the movie ends. It's like, is the next movie even going to be about zombies? Or is it just going to be a music video? I think at some point, the zombie problem is like going to kind of die down. So the next movie is just going to be a rom-com where there's only one zombie. It's in the middle of the movie. The main character just runs one over with their car and it's not acknowledged by anyone. And that's it. The rest of it is just Sydney Sweeney figuring out that she cares more about love than her career. But it takes her 2 hours. And no zombie fights for her to come to that realization. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Unless you wuss out. Unless you don't listen to the next podcast because you're too afraid. Why don't you commit to something for once? Why don't you listen to every single episode of this podcast instead of giving up halfway through like you do with everything else in your life? Look, if the only way to get you to listen to my podcast is to shame you and to make you feel bad about yourself, so be it. Anyway, have a great week.